Hello, good evening. Hope you are doing well. My name is Drinksglue. Tonight we have two of our 8 finalists for the Flashback Battle Royale, duking it out live on Restream for us, but without further ado, allow me to introduce tonight's commentators, Arusta and Vincent. Arusta, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
I am doing very well. I am looking forward to this match. This is the week 8 of the Flashback Battle Royale. This is the final 8, so this should be a very, very good match. Some of the top runners in our community duking it out over one of the classic flag sets of Final Fantasy VI Randomizer Worlds Collide, one of the classic flag sets of one of our past tournaments. So, my co-commentator today is Vincent. How are you doing today, Vincent?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to this. I haven't done a lot of commentary in our community, but I have been playing the randomizer since the very beginning of COVID. So, been around the community for quite a while and looking forward because these are two names that if you've been around, you know who these two are. You know they're both very good runners, and you know we're in for a heck of a race. So I'm really looking forward to see how this turns out. This will be a fun flag set for them, and I don't know who do you favor in this, Austria? Who do you think's kind of got the advantage here?
I mean that's hard to say because I believe both of our runners, who are the Schwantz 27 and Papa Shango, I believe both of them were around for the previous version of the Warring's Triad, which was last year. I want to say might have been late 2023. Time is just an illusion, but this is the Doom's Rage flag set, which, as you can sort of see on the screen here, the things that Papa Shango is showing on his side is that you get at the start, you lose 10 magic power on all your characters, but you do gain plus 20 vigor, also known as strength. And then the bosses and dragons are a little powered up. Some of the other critical things, I think, are the magic. Since it is Doom's Rage, themed around the Doom statue. There is no fire, no bolt, no Merton. So basically just ice elemental, and there's also no Ultima. So you're going to be focused on ice magic, but with that magic power hit, you're pretty much going to be doing physical damage. Is there anything else that jumped out to you about these flags?
No, I think you covered a lot of it. I mean, we've got, I think we're gonna. We talked about this before the race. I think we're gonna look at some beat sticks because we're gonna be very minimal magic, and I think that's me. I kind of like those because you have to be a little bit more careful in your item selection. Where sometimes if you get the easy magic seeds, you can just kind of plow through. Where I think they're gonna have to be a little calculated with this.
Absolutely. And one other thing worth noting is that the item rewards were tweaked a little bit. Is that for dead checks or dragons, what you get is ice shields, mega elixirs, and then all high tier weapons. So effectively, unlike a regular seed of Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, where you might get other elemental shields, you might get some garbage like force shield. Sometimes you might get armor, things like that. Nope. If you're getting a dead check, there is a very good chance it is one of those powerful beat sticks to take advantage of that strength boost.
And that's always a major factor, and I think these are two runners that no matter what they face, they can definitely handle this. So I'm not like they will find their way through quickly and make quick work of this. But with these checks and what we're gonna look and what we know about where they're gonna go, we know it might take a minute. So we will see.
Yep, that sounds good. We are probably going to get started in just a few seconds here. I think we're about to start the countdown, so should be getting going. And then this is going to be a very, very good race. As we mentioned, this is week 8 of Flashback Battle Royale, which is an event that started with, I believe, like 60 people. And then over the first 7 weeks, it's gone down. It was, I want to say, the first 50 people after week 1, first 40, etc., etc. So basically, this is the elite of the elite, the very top runners of our community right here, playing a variety of flag sets. So this should be a very good race. We'll be starting here in looks like 3 seconds or so.
All right, we're going to be off and running shortly. The racers have gotten to go ahead in the race room, so let's see how this turns out tonight.
And then, as you can see, that's what we mentioned up front: the lost magic power, boost in strength. They have a rage cyan, which, you know, with those beat sticks might be very good. And then Umaro, who is Umaro, not much to say about him, same as he always is.
Well, Umaru, I've definitely had some fun with in the past. It just depends on what you get equip wise. Like, are we in good shape? Do we have what we need to turn him into an absolute beater, or do we just find nothing?
Absolutely. And the one thing to note here is that there is, with that strength boost, Umaru will be a little better than he normally is, because, you know, he has high stats to begin with, so an extra 20 strength makes him even more of a physical monster. So even though he's often kind of a joke, sometimes people meme about having him as an airship pilot, for a seed like this, it's very good to start with. He can really power you through the early seed, I would expect.
Definitely. And his negative of not being able to control him doesn't necessarily affect you as much here. Like, we're not going to be in situations early on where him attacking out of sequence is a problem. So, and I'm pretty sure we just found fixed dice, and okay, that's something I would not mind throwing on Umaro and let him do some business.
Absolutely. And Papa Shango showing us one nice thing here. Since you start with Umaru, you can dip up like he just did, like Papa Shango just did, and you can actually see if there's a character there, you will see them peeking out. Since we did not see anybody, that means it could be an Esper or it could just be a dead check. We don't actually know.
Yep.
One other thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sure we will see them still go for that check, but having that information ahead of time is good to know. You know, right now with only 2 characters, we know one of the first things we're looking for is that third character, so we can open up more checks. But knowing that right now, definitely a smart thing to just grab that quick information.
Absolutely. And the thing about that is, even though you check it here in the World of Balance, that check, of course, is done in the World of Rune, where you would pick up Umaru in the vanilla.
Yeah, and
you need to plan ahead a little bit, but also with 2 characters, you probably want to route that in because there's a dragon up there. So maybe you want to wait a little bit until you're sure you can handle that dragon and just knock them out both at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. And I was going to mention that with some of the bonuses we get off of killing dragons, because one, we get auto reflect, which cure magic isn't great, but you know, we're not sure how magic's going to look in the seed anyway. With 3 dragons, we get auto haste, and with 5, we get auto image. So, we got a second set of fixed dice. One in the initial storehouse in Narsh, and now a second pair here in Returner's Hideout.
Absolutely, and that's good to have, though it is noticeable that, of course, fixed dice is kind of slow, but it's good here early in the seed. Also worth noting that red jacket, with dead checks not giving you anything except weapons, it's very good for offense, but sometimes it can hurt a little bit on defense in some of these seeds. So finding some good equipment just naturally in chests is good to have, so you don't end up with holes in your equipment late game.
For sure. Although we've seen them pick up a couple of force armors already, so some decent equipment popping up.
Yeah, and one other thing that's just worth noting is that Doom, of course, being an ice-themed boss, if you notice, a lot of the NPCs seem to be wearing some more blue-colored shirts today. That is one of the changes in the Doom's Rage flag set, is that to follow the theme of ice magic and an ice boss, everybody has decided to dress in blue and black.
Well, keep the theme alive.
Absolutely, and it's even more noticeable with characters, because all the characters will themselves be wearing a little bit of alternate colors. You just can't really tell with Cyan because it's pretty much his default colors anyways.
But you can definitely tell looking at our friendly neighborhood Yeti. He's definitely not the normal color we see him as.
Yeah, and one thing just to point out for people watching who are watching this either later on YouTube or missed it earlier in chat, is that even though it appears that Schwanz is a little behind, they're actually synced up, I believe, and it's just like a small stream difference.
Yeah, I mean, even if they're at this point just a door transition from each other anyway. Part of that is it looked like Schwanz's initial takeoff, his video got a little bit behind, but we are here and running. So we're on our shopping world tour, as I like to call it, just checking around, see if there's any goods, making some mental notes of things we might want to come back in. I did see a cat hood for sale in Narsh. I didn't think there was anything weapon-wise that looked great there, but you know, those are things you want to at least keep in the back of your mind just in case you want to make a trip back at some point.
Absolutely. And the other thing to know, I think there was also ice shields available in Narsh, though those you might be a little more reluctant to buy in these settings just because, you know, if there's a dead check that's not a weapon, it's very likely to be an ice shield. So probably going to run across some naturally and may not want to buy it.
Although we did just see we just saw the Zen thief check. It is a glowing stone. But it was 59,000 here in World of Balance, so we'll definitely check what that's going to be in World of Ruin, see if that's going to be less, hopefully. But we do know that that is likely an Esper.
Yes, meanwhile, Schwant's going to take some battles here. Some interesting equipment options there, putting the Atlas Amulet and running shoes on Umaru, just so that Umaru is going to do a lot of physical damage, which, you know, he always would, but especially with his damage boost here, should be in very good shape.
Absolutely. It's going to be a scary Yeti. So, yep. And I like this. A lot of people don't do this, but I like taking the first couple fights here down in the basement. Okay. We're checking out all of our rages, seeing what we got.
I mean, that is a very good play, because especially there are a lot of rages, like the one you just saw, which either do very nice attacks, or even some of them, you know, like Stray Cat being, of course, the classic, where their skill, quote-unquote, is basically a stronger version of attack. So if all you're going to be doing is punching anyways, using a rage that does punch but twice as much damage is very useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and here, I mean, having access to shock like that, that's not a bad thing, but gonna check out everything else just to kind of see. But yeah, that just seems like early on, this is a really nice attack. Definitely gonna lose its effectiveness down the road, but at least for now, for these early levels, not gonna shy away from it.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Papa Shango going to Zen here to do their own little leveling portion. Or not Zen, excuse me, Zozo. Gonna probably go through the cyan check here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Makes sense because that mountain check is there's a dragon available. There's another check. There's a lot of chests along the way. I think it's a pretty good option. Boy, an enraged Yeti just scares me. Oh, they're both enraged now. Yeah, they're just gonna hit you hard. All right, I do like the Zen play or the Zozo play quite a bit here. I think we're not sure what it's going to turn out as, but I also like taking the few fights from here that both of them are looking at this going, hey, just even a few levels is going to help me get ready for that first boss battle, or we might see Papa Shango go for a dragon here.
I would guess he probably does go for the dragon here. Maybe do the check first, but with the amount of battles he's taking along the way, should be in good shape to handle that dragon when you get to it, especially with fixed dice.
Yeah, for sure, and is going to have that opportunity to heal up before taking it, so get back to whatever our new max hit point is and be able to check that dragon to make sure that we're clear for it. And with the save point there, it's kind of free anyway.
Yeah, you save, and if it turns out to be one of the dragons that just does massive damage, or you know, you just can't beat, because the dragon does start with, I believe, +6 levels in addition to its normal scaling. So, yes. You know, if it turns out to be a dragon which does AoE damage that you just can't survive, it is what it is. But Schwant's picking up a very nice Ragnarok there in a chest. Very good. That will probably get equipped on someone, assuming someone can equip it very shortly.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the best items in the game to equip. massive increase in damage and very consistent. Oh, Genji glove. Nice find there for Papa Shango.
Yeah, and I think Schwantz found at least one, but I think Schwantz found it in a different spot. But yeah, they both have a Genji glove, which again, if you know you're already using physical offense, makes a lot of sense. As well here, it looks like Papa Shango is going for the check first, which I mean, that makes a lot of sense because if it's an Esper, you want to be able to equip it and maybe get those Esper bonuses plus the MP. If it's a character, you want the character. Or unfortunately, in this case, it looks like it's just a dead check, but hey, it'll probably be a useful item, so not terrible.
Well, I mean, as we talked, with the dead checks are going to be scaled up, so this could be any number of high level items that will make going back to that dragon palpable and easier. Speaking, well, not so great right now, but great long term pickup there.
Yeah, Atma weapon really scales based on like really needs more physical damage, so it's not great early, but it will be great later. Meanwhile, Schwantz selling the farm to buy a cat hood, which I really like this early in seed. Cat hood is a very good stat helmet, a very good defensive helmet, and also doubles your gold gain, so it is very, very useful, especially since you're going to be fighting a lot of things along the way. You already know, Schwantz already knows he can buy ice shields at some point if he wants to, so just lots of options there.
That will 100% pay for itself over time. So that is definitely I always like finding that early, and I do the exact thing. I will empty the coffers because it's going to pay for itself 10 times over. Looks like World of Balance is the cheapest place to buy the glowing stone, only by 3,000. Those are both expensive at 59 and 62. And wow, short work of our golden dragon there for Papa Shango.
Yes, that is very, very good. And a Pearl Lance, which is, out of all the options for the high tier weapons, it is, I guess, an option. It's definitely not the one you're hoping for.
No. Obviously Illumina, Ragnarok, but not
Valiant Knife.
Valiant Knife, yep.
Another Atmo probably wouldn't hurt. Yeah, it's probably the least valuable of them, except I think there is a brush on the list. So it's probably the second least valuable of the high tier weapons.
I mean, if you end up with Mog and maybe set up a jumper, I mean, it's probably fine for you, but definitely not as exciting as some of the of any of the other high tier items we could have got there.
Yep. Meanwhile, Papa Shango showing why you always want to make sure you have warp stones, because doing the unfortunate walk.
Walk of shame out of Zozo. Not as bad as having to do the walk of shame out of World of Ruin Narsh. That just feels real bad.
Interesting play here by Schwantz going to Doma Dream.
Well, so wow, yeah, that is interesting because this is a long check to bring two characters only this early, but it is 3 checks that happen in pretty decent succession. So
yeah, it's 3 checks, and I want to say at least one. It's the second one I believe is guaranteed progression.
Yes.
So like it's not a bad check, and like especially with the sword tech boost, like it does make sense to do this. But man, if you get into a spot where you can't beat, like that third boss is Magimaster or someone you just can't beat, you can get yourself into a lot of wasted time here.
This is definitely a time that he's not sad that he had fixed dice equipped to someone with Tritok. Speaking of a boss you wouldn't be able to beat if you didn't have damage evasion like the fixed dice are. So Magimaster is something you could take down. Okay, we got an Odin Esper, so we got one of our first pieces of Magicite. All right.
Yep. Meanwhile, on Papa Shango's side, doing the tie-in check. Yeah, and ooh, you see, so that will be the person that we pick up is Sabin. That is one of the nice things about this check is I wouldn't necessarily call it peekable because you're kind of already committed to it, but you do get to see what you're going to get.
Yep, and another character whose palette doesn't really get affected by the blue the blue tint, but strong physical character. So hopefully we'll see a useful skill to go with that with his natural strength.
Yeah, meanwhile, our tracker Drinks Glue pointing out something interesting in chat is that with the way the check scaling is working right now, since Papa Shango only has 2 characters and nothing else, the bosses are all level 5. Or at least the first boss is, and then the second one, I guess, will be 7.5, which will be either 7 or 8. So actually, Schwantz, whose characters were at level 8 and are probably like level 10 to 12 now, is actually kind of over leveled here. So it is an interesting play, especially with, you know, fixed dice being damage that's not really reliant on level. It does boost a little bit, but it's not, you know, you can get around that depending on good rolls. So that does make some sense. Meanwhile, Papa Shango buying the Triads Esper, so both of our team are on one Esper. Schwantz has Odin, Papa Shango has Triads. I don't think we've seen what, or at least if he did, I didn't notice it. Triads, kind of a garbage Esper, but it's better than nothing.
I mean, if anything, we're not really. We're less concerned about the Esper count. Well, for us, the Esper count here with this seed, it's more about possibly bonuses on it, but definitely like not really concerned with magic, other than maybe getting some healing. But
yeah, I mean,
right.
well, the healing isn't as valuable, but I mean, offensive magic can still be useful, provide you with some variety. Oh, and Schwantz gets Unicorn off the throne, so Schwantz is currently 3 for 3. Doma Dream is the play.
Wow. Well, and getting Sabin, that opens up some very quick checks that are going to be close by here. Well, sorry, we're gonna have to go into World Balance, but Sabin is one of the characters you always love to see because he's 5 checks, and a lot of them are very quick. Other than World of Balance, Train, which is quite a bit slower. But
yeah, but even the train is not a bad check because
you can peek
it right at the start and bail out, and you actually get the reward right at the start. I mean, sometimes it's valuable, sometimes it's not a big deal, but it is good to get it. It is also worth noting that all of those are right by the World of Balance, what's it called? Doma, so I don't believe Schwantz has done that yet, but Schwantz can go there for a check as well. Probably route that right in because it's right next to all the stuff for Sabin too.
Yeah, that'll work out really well. That actually works out perfect for him that he didn't do the World of Balance check for Cyan yet. So
Ooh, and looks like Schwantz is going for jumper strats on Sabin with the Dragon Horn. Which Dragon Horn plus a Pearl Lance is pretty much endgame caliber damage. Of course, it is elemental damage, so there's a surprisingly large amount of people who resist Pearl Elemental / Holy, but it is worth doing.
Yeah, tier 3 is always the one where it's like, oh, okay, this is not where I want to. Tier 3, tier 3 Kefka statue. That's the one where I'm always like, great, I have like 4 guys equipped with Illumina.
Yeah, the other thing you can do with it is you can do dice, which is actually very nice as well, because then you skip the long dice animation. And I believe dice do still benefit from the 1.5 times damage boost, so you got some options there.
All right, Schwantz is tracking down this Colt's long run. While Pop is now doing his dream and will get handsomely rewarded when all done.
Yeah,
And
the
we got
main Kefka here.
yep, the Narsh Battle Kafka, which is definitely never a tough fight. Very quickly escapes. Yep.
Yeah, because the Narsh Battle Kefka just does not have much HP, so he usually dies almost instantly. And you get a nice
And
slam dancing Moogle.
oh, this is actually kind of perfect. That means we get to route everything in well with Mog. And having Mog and Umaro together.
Yeah, though I gotta say, with that color palette, Mog looks kind of like he's sick. Needs to go to the doctor. That
He
is a weird
does.
color.
He does. We really need to send him some kind of healing potion, maybe an antidote. You know, he's still alive, so we don't need to Phoenix down, but you know, something.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, with Cyan having that Ragnarok, Umaro doing Umaro things, the jumping dice Sabin, I think Schwantz is probably pretty close to having his party more or less set. I mean, this is maybe you want to replace Umaru just for more control on the final battle, but short of that, this could be a viable final party here.
Up. What did I call earlier?
Yep, jumper.
A Mog jumper. Yep. We do get Mog, and we're gonna jump. What he's good at. This is a town I actually go when I play. I tend to visit this town quite a bit because there's a good section of shops you can quickly shop through. But just checking for items. Maybe looking for.
Probably looking for some healing items because
Yeah, I was gonna say
if
healing.
you know you're gonna fight a dragon, you're gonna have reflect, and you probably like to have some kind of way of getting people back and getting people healed up.
Instead, not really much. I mean, sleeping bags that are useful if you don't have them, but I'd rather have the walking sleeping bag, aka the the nice full heal, the elixirs. But now Schwantz is going to go through this fairly quick procession of checks. I do like a safety save here because you never know. And this is actually an area where you're also going to gain. You're going to get about what is it, 4 or 5 fixed fights where we're going to gain some levels. Not that he really needs it right now with how far he is ahead of progression, but gotta love this blue Kefka.
Yeah, Kefka's looking stylish today. The thing about the the thing about this battle is you do get 4 and gonna get a ton of money here because Katana Soul gives you an offering, which is awesome, and also gives you like 30,000 gold or something crazy, even without the cat hood.
Yeah, this is you're never sad to see this when you're able to kill. And with 2 jumpers, we're gonna avoid a lot of the problems. Oh, look at Mog. Mog is just coming in. Mog's already coming in clutch with the kill. All right.
Yeah, and the other thing our tracker pointing out in chat, I think Schwantz might still be looking for warp stones, which are always good to have as well. Yep, 73,000 gold, by the way.
Oh, gotta love it.
Meanwhile, on Papa Shango's side, showing us that check for the first time, it is the Esper Madwin. So that puts Papa Shango at 3 characters, 4 Espers, while Schwantz is at 4-2. With flipping over like this, I would bet we're about to see this Papa Shango doing a little high five here, meeting up with Schwantz in the camp here.
Yep, we don't get a lot of that in this game because we're rarely ever running through the same areas. This is one of the few places where I'm going to get. Oh wow, I just love all the blue soldiers too. This palette's great.
Yeah, honestly, one of the coolest things about the Warring Triads was that they did all the palette shifts because You know, with Goddess being lightning elemental, everybody was wearing nice yellow or orange colors. Then with the fire spicy chicken poltergeist, everybody was wearing the bright red. And then here you get to see everybody wearing blue. So palette shuffle, very, very cool.
I did a one of our back during COVID, and we were doing regular Friday night Final Fantasy runs. Those of you who are Magic Gathering fans, which I'll get to in a second anyway. But I did a week where it was all Final Fantasy VII themed. Not that, you know, it would guess my name would potentially come from Final Fantasy VII. But I had Sephiroth as it like replaced Kefka. So then the entire palette was that black Sephiroth palette, which I love.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Schwann's choosing wisely to run away from that third battle, the level magics. Pretty much never worth fighting because they don't give you experience. They are annoying. They're slow because they cast a lot of slow magic. Just always worth running away from those.
High risk, low reward, and high effort to kill. Not worth it at all.
Absolutely. And I believe Schwantz is about to show us, because I believe you get a full heal at the start of this, so Schwantz is about to show us why, do some nice little mini routing here to save himself the tent or the heal.
Yep, just yeeting himself off a cliff. And here we are against the Ultros Chupon combo.
Yes, which does not give you experience, but I mean, a reward's a reward.
Yep, not one of the random encounters you love to see here. You wish it was buried somewhere that you're never going to see, but it's fine. Especially since the damage output from Schwantz right now at this early in the game is absolutely phenomenal. So, yep, there goes this battle. We see no experience, no GP, nothing from that fight at all.
So let's see what we're going to get here. Oh, Strago. Probably, unless he's got like an absolutely killer skill, probably going to be our airship pilot.
Yep.
Because Strago, in a physical-based seed like this, Strago is just not super useful.
No, the old man is not, yeah, and health and fight, yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to have fight, but just health is not very useful, and like his raw stats aren't good for a physical team.
Nope, just all no.
And like his equip pool, even though there is an increased percentage of equipment, like his natural equip pool is not very great. But looks like Schwantz is stripping off Umaru, so might be swapping him out.
I think he's going to grab the old man because this is free heal without, that avoids the reflect. So that's the only reason I can see putting him in the party is that health is free at this point and avoids that reflect issue.
Okay, and he does equip, and he can equip fixed dice through the random increase in equip ability, so it does give him some kind of use.
Okay.
Looks like gonna hand over the
jumping to the old man. All right.
I guess turn Mog back into a swordsman.
Yeah, it looks like Mog's carrying the offering. All right. Did you ever play Magic the Gathering, Brewster?
Oh, years and years ago. Back during, I want to say it was like 4th edition Ice Age kind of time. So like, what was that, like mid-90s?
That was mid-90s. Actually, that's about when I started playing. This summer, the Final Fantasy set for Magic Gathering is coming out. So I am stoked about that. And there is a deck that is based on Final Fantasy VI character.
That is very cool. Schwant's going to show off Thamasa here with Strago. This makes a lot of sense. Ooh, and getting warp stones, which has been looking for. Because the Masa, if you're looking for an item shop, the Masa is one of the quickest ones to get to because it's just right inside. Also, if you're looking for other shops, it's also a fairly compact town in general. It does have several chests right along the way. So if you're playing along at home and need some shopping or some fast checks, like fast chest checks, the Masa is always a pretty decent play to consider.
And a quick escape route out of, so.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, showing off the coral checks.
Yep, Swans is on the count. This is one I used to shy away from quite a bit. Oh, Shango doesn't get the ultimate damage trigger where you just... and it has to go through the long sneeze animation.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the check here is if you actually time it out, it's not as bad as you think. It just feels awful.
Yeah,
Like, especially like if you go to a chest and it has one, or like you get in the room without a chest, like it just feels really bad. But if you do the math, it's actually like, and time it out, it's not as bad as you think, because you can basically walk in and then walk right out.
Yeah, this is a long time ago. I did I took a night where I did the like, okay, I'm gonna run every check with like the max ability, like just godly equipment, just so I could see like in the quickest amount of time, what is the quickest I can do each of this checks. And this check definitely did not score in the higher bad range at all. It was definitely one of the faster options. You just have to I mean, there is some RNG to it, but it's not as bad, especially when you are skilled in it and know how to maneuver quickly or have the different rooms memorized off of your teleport.
Absolutely. And Schwantz did check the levels before going in and passed it very easily. Meanwhile, Papa Shango about to show us the same thing. I did not see Papa Shango's levels.
I don't think he's as high here, so this might be a little bit tougher fight.
Yeah, I mean, with Doomgaze, you're usually less concerned about actual damage, is just making sure, you know, you're not going to get an instant party wipe. I do think Papa Shango got at least one of their characters at a lower level than everybody else, so I don't think he's completely level synced to the point that a single attack wipes everybody.
All right, we do see that we've got Valiant Knife picked up.
Yeah, and put on Sabin, which makes a lot of sense.
This is a skill, if you haven't worked on, that this can make or break a lot of a run, is how well you menu in this game, because you can waste a lot of time here if you're not comfortable and if you're not remembering what what you've picked up, what you have. There is that elixir, but that is expensive.
Absolutely.
Worth remembering the location, because it may come down to you wanting to come buy those later in the seed if you don't have any great healing before you go into KT, but that's definitely a lot at 19,000 per.
Yeah, meanwhile, Schwant's almost certain to take the boss on their way out, like the dragon, like we just saw from Papa Shango. Don't think Schwantz is going to have any issues here.
No, this will be a murder fest. That gold dragon will not stand a chance to this party.
Yeah, I mean, really at this point, with the kind of physical offense they have, the only boss I think that would be annoying would be something like where you can't target damage. Something like Rexol would be super annoying to see. You wouldn't have any issues winning it, but it'd just be, you know, a lot of wasted time. So guys, since they've got a lot of uncontrollable damage.
Strago does go down, but Strago just joined the party. Doesn't have as great a defense going on right now, but Sabin, meanwhile, is putting a beat stick on with that offering and valiant knife. Ooh, yeah, bolt edge is a rough one. Oh, figures. Dragon goes down right after we lose 2 of our characters. But hey, we got a stray cat on the right-hand side.
Yeah, that will be very, very nice for that Cyan Rage.
That might even change up a little bit of our strategy, but that's definitely just at least in our equipment layout. But that's a really nice pickup.
Yeah, one thing that Worlds Collide does, if you're not super familiar with it, is that Rage and the leap command is removed, and instead, basically, when you meet a character or when you meet an enemy and beat it in battle, it is automatically added to your Rage, just to cut down on the annoying vanilla behavior of having to go to the Veld and hope you run into it, and etc., etc.
Yeah, 2 of my favorite fixes in this is the sword tech clock being much faster, so that it actually is a useful ability in these, and the rage fix, that the rage and leap fix. It made some things that in vanilla are just kind of not great into high value skills here.
Yep. Meanwhile, so both of our runners are probably about halfway through the seed in terms of getting to their progression, and it's going to be pretty much downhill from here.
Yep. Schwantz is on the Esper hunt. Only 1 more character needed, and not sure what we'll get out of this, but
I believe this was a Esper when we saw Papa Shango do it.
okay. Oh, that's right. I forgot he already went through here.
Yeah, one nice little subtle thing there is that since Schwantz did need healing after that gold dragon fight, was able to walk into the inn and you talk to her and she gives you that free heal immediately. Saves you a bit of menuing and slight bit of time compared with like finding a save point and using up a sleeping bag or tent or whatever.
Yep, and those little things add up over time. I do a lot of calling on Super Metroid races, and like little mistakes across like the 100% category can add minutes of time. Same thing in this. You save a little bit of time here and there, and that adds up over the length of the seed. And when you got the quality of runners that we now have in this top 8 going into next week's top 4, a couple of minutes, like 30 seconds, can make a difference. Can be the difference between great runners like this.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Papa Shango getting Kieran from the burning house, which is their 6th Esper, so only needs 2 more characters, 3 Espers. Meanwhile, on Schwantz's side, needs 1 more character and about to be 4 more Espers after he buys Tritok here. Meanwhile, Schwantz going with all jump strats.
Eat himself into the air for the win.
Yeah, honestly, as someone who always likes who always likes jump as an ability, I just love to see it. Got to be rooting for Schwantz here.
One thing that I do want to point out is you're right, we're on the back half of this. So far, none of our Espers are calmness protection, and we don't really have a lot of it. I did see that we do have Life 3 available on one of those Espers, and thankfully that does get around Reflect, so that may actually come into play. But that's probably going to have to be taught just because of how we're getting to the back half of this seed. We're getting close. We have to have something and some thought for getting past tier 3.
Absolutely. I mean, especially since the jumping, any character who happens to be in the air will survive, but you don't necessarily want to count whoever lands, and unless you're very good at counting, you very well might have, just too many people die. So yeah, you definitely want some kind of calmness protection. And I don't think we've seen Mirage Vests, which are secretly very good calmness protection, but very often overlooked.
As I say that, I guess one of our options would be 5 dragons.
That is true.
Because we get the auto image. So that this seed kind of has protection built in. So I forgot about that until I was thinking about it. And then that as I see Schwantz go for this dragon, which wasn't necessary, he's making it a point to prioritize this dragon. Also knowing that we're going to go do that Amaro check, we're going to pass another dragon. So that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, because otherwise, I don't know if you necessarily need to hit this one, but if you hit 5, you got that pre-built in tier 3 protection.
Yeah, I mean it also works very nicely for if you've got a Valiant Knife user, which I believe Schwantz had. I don't think they have right now, but if you use a Valiant Knife, it's good to have for that too.
Speaking of, oh, and we've got so we've got access to enough dragons, I believe. We're gonna have the Narsh field dragon.
You can always get 2 at the very end in Kefka's Tower if you really want it.
Well, and we have 3 of the characters that open up into dragons right now, because we can do the Fanatics Tower dragon because we've got the old man. Sorry, we got 2 of the characters that open it up. So
yeah, I mean, to be fair, the numbers both of them have already done the Cyan dragon, but I think Papa Shango just showed us the Fanatics Tower. I believe that was Shadow walking around at the bottom.
Okay.
Because you do get to peek it, but it's also kind of a slow check, kind of an annoying check. So don't blame Papa Shango at all from checking it and bailing.
At the same time, I could, if I know that that's character 6 and dragon 5, I might run that check.
Yeah, I think seemed like he was just going in for the information, and I do think that makes a lot of sense. So it's a character, so if you have to go back, but still needing both characters and espers. If you find you already have what you need ahead of time, maybe you just skip that.
We've got a vanilla ice dragon.
We had a vanilla ice dragon. Offering with 2 Valiant Knives plus jump makes short work of enemies here. Schwantz is just rolling on his side.
Yep, that ice dragon disappeared as fast as Vanilla Ice's career did.
Ouch. Painful.
Unless you talk about building houses, apparently, because now that's his thing. But
yeah,
Papa is just on a mission
and Schwantz did learn life 3 off that dragon, so has at least one character who has it.
Good. I mean, it's useful having it in your back pocket if you don't, like, if maybe he gets to that situation. But I think he's definitely going to hit the 5 dragon hit here, so I don't think that will be I don't think that'll be an issue. Oh, here's one of the annoying fights. Yay.
Yeah, and it's also one thing see Schwantz disequipping the Pearl Lances here, because unfortunately, even though the Pearl Lances are more reliable than fixed dice at this point, they do heal Rexol.
Yep, and that's, again, if you ever race these, work on your menuing, because you saw how fast Schwantz made those switches. Lost very minimal time in that menuing, which is huge. Unfortunately, he does kill one of Rexol's little minions, which always revive. It's so annoying. Oof.
Yeah, doing some smart menuing there to re-equip knowing that this was going to kill Rexol, or get close to it, to re-equip the Pearl Lance in here to avoid having to go back to a menu.
Yep. Yeah, that's a really nice time save. That's going to save menuing, and any menu saving time is great.
Oh, it looked like Sabin also learned quick, so it's going to have dual Valiant Knives offering plus quick, so that's 16 stabs at once. That's probably going to wipe out pretty much any enemy in the game once he gets a
And
bit more health on his Sabin there.
all right, we just got the Ragnarok Esper. So that's 6 Magicite for Schwantz. So that's getting closer. Papa Shango still needs 2 more characters, and we'll see what we get from the Yeti check here. We know it's either an item or an Esper because it's not a character. We know that from peeking earlier in the map. So I think him going here is smart, knowing that it's a higher probability of being an Esper, which we'll find out.
And seeing, do you want to remove the item, bailing out? Because, yeah, at this point, you don't really need anything. There's no high tier item you would want. There's no, you're missing out on the boss's experience, but Schwantz is already rolling, doesn't really need that either.
I do like this play because this opens up quite a few checks. We've got the he's going to go trigger the Lone Wolf check for Mog.
Yeah, this is a very convenient thing because Lone Wolf, you pick him up at the top, and that is right next to Kefka and Narsh. And there was about 2 years ago or so in the randomizer, we added in a setting where basically finishing Kefka and Narsh teleports you down to Arvis's house. And then from Arvis's house, you can, right here in the heart of Narsh, you can then start the Moogle defense check, which is Mog's other check. So you can very easily combine them all together. Very quick time save. Good to do whenever you get the chance.
Yeah, that was definitely a quality of life change that I very much enjoyed. This if you've played one of these a long time ago and haven't played these, this has changed so much over time. It's such a better way better experience than the very first time I played the randomizer.
Absolutely. And Schwantz selling stuff for 2 ice shields, which is good because now with 2 ice shields, a thunder shield, and then the snow muffler, everybody has at least some form of elemental protection and some good defense.
All right, Schwantz did some quick shopping and remenuing and setting everyone up, and now is going to head up and do these checks. Which, yeah, back in the early days, this was long and terrible, but now with that teleport, not nearly as bad.
Absolutely. And then also seeing here on Papa Shango's side, about to do the exact same thing here in Narsh, I assume, that we're about to see on Schwantz. So the Papa Shango does skip buying the ice shields. We'll have the opportunity later because after the work up here, you get pushed back very, very close to the shields.
He didn't trigger Lone Wolf, which he just realized and is turning back to go fix.
Oof,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone's
I
done that one.
blow by it. I thought I saw him blow by. Yeah, I've done it too. Like,
especially when you've been to Narsh earlier, because a common play, like if you start with Mog or get him super early, is you trigger Lone Wolf, but you don't actually go up here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that's different. He's going for Moogle defense right away. Oh, wait a minute.
That is Shadow. I guess maybe I don't remember I guess I was wrong about what we saw at the bottom of Fnatic's tower. But you
know what?
See it
it's
later.
All blue. It might have been a soldier.
Yeah, it might have been.
And if it was a soldier, then I definitely understand skipping that altogether and then finishing your last 2 dragons. Well, then again, Pop Shango only has 1 dragon down, so. Up, we got the Yeti on the back burner again, as Lance is liking that. Got the old man in the party and useful, but black and blue soldiers. Oh, love it.
Yeah, and the blue wolves too. Over on Papa Shango's side.
Yes. Seeing the flags, the color flags of this seed coming through beautifully. And here's this little skip. If you don't know it, you just wait, and as soon as they start moving forward, you run by really quickly and you get to save a ton of time.
Absolutely. And Papa Shango showing off the other boss you really don't love seeing when you've got non-controllable damage because
Nope, not unless
all the Hide Knights take all the hits for you.
not unless the undead flag is on, and you can quickly revive him or Phoenix down him and get him out of there. All right. Meanwhile, Kefka goes down for Schwanz and gets the Palador. Okay. So both players, well, no, now Schwanz is at 5'8" with Papa Shango at 5'7".
Yeah,
Papa Shango will be close to this.
And Schwanz is almost certainly going to go... Oh, I'm surprised Schwanz is not going... Oh, probably going to save in case he wants to bail out of Moogle defense here. But
Yeah,
I would be surprised if we don't see him turn right back around afterwards.
Yep. Okay. You called it. And I don't... Yeah, I agree. This is the right decision right now.
Interesting.
All right.
We'll
What do we
just
got?
leave it.
Okay. Oh, yeah, oh, that's right. He hadn't done this. I don't remember what we got from here. I think maybe it was just an item.
I think this was a dead check, yeah.
Okay.
If it was a character, we would have seen the character run out.
It was
where one of
definitely
the
not a
soldiers
character.
was.
Right.
But if it's, you can't tell the difference between espers and items.
Right. Yeah, I knew it wasn't a character. Oh, hey, we got the Hamid. So 6 and 8 for Papa Shango. Papa Shango's one magicite away from getting there. So Schwann's turning around and not doing that Moogle defense. That's definitely that's something that Papa Shango did that was maybe a big brain play here, because he does have his characters.
Just needs to find one Esper, and looks like gonna go up here for the dragon and what I believe was an Esper. So
Yeah,
Shango will be in good shape here.
Yeah, the Tritalk tech is almost it's a very, very high percentage to be an Esper. So this is definitely a good play, and I wouldn't be shocked if Papa gets that 9th Esper, and then quickly goes and kills the Opera House Dragon, and then goes to KT.
Yeah, the other option, depending on how confident you are in your ability to actually get through KT, is if you wanted to go in with 3 dragons, you basically overload the party full right, walk all the way through Kefka's tower, clear out the middle lane and the dragon on the way, and then you warp stone out. I believe our tracker reporting in chat that Papa Shango's at 16 checks out of the 22 needed for skip, and Schwanz is at 17. So checks wise, seems like both of them are going to be finished before they hit their check number, but maybe you decide to do a couple extra.
Schwann's got the Esper from this, and does decide to roll through the train.
Yeah, which I mean, at this point, knowing that you're at least doing it for an Esper, I completely agree with this play. As opposed to just going somewhere and basically rolling the dice. Is it something, or is it just a waste of time?
Right. Well, and to know it's your last Esper, so now you're going to focus on checks. Right. You're going to focus on the checks now that you know are higher percentage to be characters at least of what you have left. Which I'm not quite sure where we are checks wise with all of them. We know that Mog's Moogle defense was one.
So the thing about checks is that characters typically lead to new characters, just with the way the fill algorithm works. So if you're looking specifically for a character, you want to go for the characters you've gotten most recently and do their checks, which in this case is actually Mog, so that would imply going back to Moogle defense, as opposed to the other way. If you're looking specifically for an Esper, it's often good to look at what are the characters that have been in my party the longest that checks have been sitting there, and go do those.
Right, and as our tracker is pointing out in chat, the only checks that Schwanz has left after this are Burning House, Moogle defense, and Fanatics. Which,
I mean, honestly, of those, I would definitely do Moogle defense first.
Yeah,
that's
agreed.
very quick. Because you save outside and you can very quickly peek it, knowing you need a character.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, I mean, Burning House would be my absolute last on that list because it's the only one that's not peekable.
yeah, and it's just a long check in general, because unless you have like godlike ability to skip all the fights, it is a very time-consuming check compared to really either one of the other options. And yeah, I mean, and Fanatics, you just check the base and run. But there is Esper number 9 for Papa Shango. So Papa Shango has go. Yep, there's that Kefka tower complete, so he can go right for AT after maybe some item checks. Although again, I would be shocked if he doesn't at least go.
I would guess probably all we're gonna. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll guess probably what we're gonna see is him just going to spend the money somewhere, and then go into KT, because I think he's based on the tracker. What the tracker reported a few minutes ago, I think Papa Shango's only at like 17 checks, so he's got quite a ways to get to skip.
Yeah, I don't think either one of the players would even consider worrying
Or
about
maybe
skip.
18 checks, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, because skip generally is considered to save you about 5 minutes or so of walking. So, like, you know, if you're only 1 check away, then yeah, you'd probably do a quick one. Or if you know you only need 1 character or 1 Esper, you know where to find it. But if you're just shooting in the dark randomly and need 4 checks, it's really hard to justify.
Yep. How do you think Schwantz is regretting running from this check right away?
Probably.
At least not peeking, like as you know, taking that save and peeking, like knowing that this was character 6. That's kind of rough.
Yeah, especially with it being Shadow, who's got a very, very quick check. That in this case we actually know it's an Esper, but you know, in any case, it is a very quick check.
And that would have been, had he done that, that would have been get Shadow, go to the old man house check, and you're done. Like he would have been at go mode probably 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Doing a nice job in the manipulation to get through here quickly though. But this fight, yay. Meanwhile, Papa Shango is starting the walk down the final path and head into the depths of KT. And Papa will not touch dragons. He's just going to go right for the statues.
Yeah, which, you know, given that this is the the penultimate round of the tournament, you know, you're up against all the top players in Worlds Collide here. I completely understand this. You know, even though it might be nice in theory to have that extra dragon, that extra power from overloading, you know, and then bailing out, that's still 2 or 3 minutes you're losing, and that's a cost. So I completely understand this plan here.
Yep, makes total sense. Just get through, get to go mode, and go kill the clown. That chest, I always call that one the last chest of the game for me. I usually only check what's normally the fixed dice check and that chest when I get to KT. Usually I try to skip everything else because really it's not worth it.
You skip the validation chest?
I do.
For shame. Missing out on the memes.
I mean, you know, for me it's kind of like collecting power bombs of shame and Super Metroid, and just unneeded. Don't need it. Just go.
Yeah, and Schwantz having dipped in there to check that is probably now extra unhappy about that. And the reason, in case anyone's wondering, the reason Schwantz did check that is being at 6 characters. The skip is at 7 characters, so that is a very, very fast check. So if that had been a character, that would absolutely have been worth the time. And even this, we don't know what it is, but if this is a character, it's still probably worth the time.
Yep, and this is one you can peek and dip out. At least you'll have you'll know if it's you'll know right away if it's character or Esper once you get into the room where it happened.
Yeah, meanwhile, Papa Shango stopping to kill a dragon here for his 3rd dragon.
I definitely, yeah, if you got the right party to go through it, killing the third dragon and getting that extra bonus, totally worth it.
Yeah, auto haste is a very, I mean, haste is kind of a status that if you have to cast it from scratch, it's kind of a pain, but if you have it, it's very useful, especially for physical parties.
Yeah, and with the settings of the seed, knowing that our magic power is way down and we're attacking across the board, auto haste is huge. But yeah, and that is his third dragon. There we go. Yep. Oh, it was a
It was a what? It
Imp.
was a imp sprite. Yeah. All right. Yeah, and Schwann's, that's the end of the very quick check. So Schwann's just gonna sigh and go forward.
Yep, but we'll see. It's going to be a decent distance behind, but we know that Kefka statues, just depending on how the fights go, can make a difference. Also, just depending on how your party setup was and the boss fights you face from the statues could change time. But
Yeah,
it's
and the
definitely
one thing, yeah, and the one thing to note about this in particular, we didn't point this out at the very start of the seed, is that one of the peculiarities of this flag set is that the statue bosses are guaranteed to be the statue bosses. They are just shifted above themselves. So Doom, Goddess, and Spicy Chicken are all hiding up here somewhere. You just don't know where, so, you know, it is what it is. Of the three, Goddess is almost certainly the most dangerous because of the confused status. However, you do have an offering, so, you know, if you pan the offering over, then you have what you have, which is almost certainly why Papa Shango is doing the center lane first, because you do get the save point, so you can save here, and then if it turns out you've got the wrong party set up, you can swap over the offering, swap over your stuff as needed to avoid the charm.
Yep, and definitely a good. You always want this save here just as that safety, because I've definitely gotten here, felt comfortable, and then got blown out by just not being prepared or something just showing up and being like, yeah, okay. Well, that just happened. Well, Humbaba goes down, so the Guardian statue is down, or Guardian is down for Papa Shango, just the 3 statues, and he will transfer to the clown. Oh, yeah, he has. Okay. I was like, why is he not? Oh, he has Valiant Knife on the Yeti, which totally makes sense, because you don't need to heal, or don't want to heal there when you go. There we go. There's Goddess, but ooh, gets a nice quick attack from Umaro there to start chipping away. Yeah, this is going to go very quickly.
Yeah, and that Strago doing, was it 7,500 damage?
Yeah.
And interestingly, since you've got an Atma weapon user and a Valiant Knife user in the same party, you've got both someone who wants high HP and someone who wants low HP. So that health is kind of like a, do I want to hit it or not? Is that valuable? Is that good or bad? But no worries, just pushing right through. And that was the most dangerous, so probably going to be good either way for the rest of these lines.
Notable here time-wise that Schwantz, 2 things. One, Schwantz is not going to fight the dragon in KT, so that is 1 time save difference there. 2, Papa's stream is about 40 seconds behind, so this is a lot closer than it looks.
Clarification, Papa's actually 40 seconds ahead. So
okay, sorry.
Yeah, so right now Schwantz is actually about one boss battle further than he is.
Okay,
Like he's actually fighting the middle boss right now. They're the first middle boss.
Okay, yeah, that is a big difference then. Okay.
Yeah, so
Meanwhile,
basically, big picture, Schwantz is about, I would say, about 2 bosses behind where Papa Shango is of these 4 bosses.
and we do see that the goddess statue is the spicy chicken. Fiery chicken coming in Nashville hot, and ooh, really coming in Nashville hot. Takes Mog down. This can be scary. We're just gonna jump Sabin. A good idea. Just get him out of there. Yeet him out of the way. Let the chicken do his attacks to ooh, that's a couple big hits.
Yeah, and Sabin fortunately has that elemental shield, just sort of laughing off Poltergeist attacks here.
Meanwhile, Schwanz's Sabin does an 8x Valiant Knife hit there. Takes Foonbob out with a single attack. Definitely going a little bit slower for Papa Shango than he would like it to be. Rather have both characters up and speed up this damage, but still does take the chicken down. Definitely a little bit harder when you can't when Reflect is on. I mean, you can Phoenix down, but healing is a lot harder here. And there goes down. There goes Goddess. Goddess went down in 2 attacks for Schwanz. So Schwanz making very quick work of his first statue.
Yeah, it's worth noting that even though Papa Shango is a little bit ahead, Schwantz is finishing off these bosses much faster just from the crazy damage that he's doing right now.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a very good possibility that once we transfer up to Kefka, that difference could really come into play. I mean, it's you can make up a lot of time on the actual tiers if you have this much damage output. Now it's just going to be down to how do these other battles go and how quickly can he make work of. Got the chicken and we got Doom here. Okay, there's our namesake of our seed. Bog just doesn't care. And Shadow is basically here to carry the Moogle Charm and maybe get a little bit of damage in.
Yeah, because Shadow doesn't... I mean, he was doing about 1,000 damage for the hit, but since you've got a jumper, having him attack is not actually wasting time. Because you're still sort of just waiting for Mog to drop down anyways.
Well, yeah, and you might as well take the extra little bit of damage. It could trigger the end of it a little bit quicker. Oh, Pearl Elemental ineffective. No! What horrible timing.
Doom knows what he's doing.
Yep, and he's gonna have to make a quick gonna have to make a quick weapon change. Unfortunate that happened literally right before Mog landed. Meanwhile, Papa's got some big dice rolls happening, but
Yeah, I think both is probably it for Papa Shango and probably it for Schwanz.
There it is. Yep. Yeah, I think it would have been over before if it wasn't for that unfortunate elemental change literally the action before he landed. But it gets through that. We have both runners finishing this statue, but Schwantz still has the other statue, and as we've talked about, said he is 40 seconds actually behind in stream time, so it is going to come down to how RNG treats our statue run and how much damage Schwantz can put out in the fastest time once he gets there. Ooh, Old Man and Umaro. Oh, that's right. Old Man's jumping for us, isn't he?
Yes, yes, he is.
Oh, yeah. And fixed dice, knowing that we're walking into this. Yeah, we know this is Goddess, right? No, we already did Goddess. This is
No,
this is the chicken.
spicy chicken.
Yep,
So
yep.
110.33, step on the switches for Papa Shango. So based on the amount of attack we've got here, I'm guessing this will probably be about maybe an 8-minute fight, maybe 8:15. What are you thinking?
I think that sounds about right. At 118 time, that's like 118 to 120. That's gonna be I feel like it's gonna be a really good time compared to everyone else's results. I haven't been able to see it, but that seems really a really solid run. Ooh, Strago just Strago was doing some serious damage there, but and taking 0. Gotta love elemental shields. Do we know if he equipped Odin to get that free kill?
I
Although
think he
I
did,
saved that-
but looks
I
like
saved that for
probably
tier 3.
tier 2. But
Sorry,
yeah.
tier 2, yeah. Sorry. Because this is easy enough to get by. Tier 2 is just a little bit messier when you're dealing with 4 enemies anyway.
Yeah, definitely like Papa Shango here. So the thing is, when you've got untargetable damage, some untargetable damage and some targetable, you really want to knock out that head first, because the head does a nasty, I believe, quake if it's the last one dying, and then the long arm in the back does shockwaves when it dies. So really, you want to kill those two first.
Yep. That's why it's always scary getting up here with without either like sword tech to take out the back arm for free, and leave yourself just that front arm for your last fight. I always worry a little bit about bringing like fixed dice offering or something into this outside of the terrible animation speed.
And there are those 3 shockwaves we were talking about, but luckily all characters managed to survive, and Umaru is coming in with very nice HP, both for the memes and for the fact that he's holding a muscle belt plus Valiant knives, so gonna be doing crazy damage here.
Giggity. Yeah, he'll be able to take out that this will be ugly for those for tier 2 with that Umaro. As long as he lives to attack.
Meanwhile, Papa Shango entering his tier 1, which, reminder, is about 40 seconds difference, so he actually started tier 1 about 1:13:30 or so. And there's the Odin, which kills the red dress girl in the center, and we get to see the nice benefit of reflecting all the spells. Unfortunately, so enemies' stats kind of suck, so reflected spells actually don't really do much in terms of damage, but oh, that is not what you want. 3 characters frozen. And you also really don't have any way of fixing that, because you don't have any fire spells.
Right. And we have reflect, so so we can't even catch fire to wake up. So that's definitely going to slow down Papa Shango quite a bit here. So this is time. that can be made up. Oh, I forgot. We had the Ragnarok sword, so we naturally know flare. That was another way to potentially throw some untargeted damage in there. Our tracker points out maybe put the flame saber on and take a swing at some of your characters, but you've got Umaro very low, Cyan not exactly at the greatest health, and Sabin at great health, and now Strago's down. So you have no active characters right now on Papa Shango's side. That's very scary in any statue fight. Sorry, in any tier fight. But now Umaro's waking up and
unfortunately does have already had some queued up actions.
Yeah, so lost that potion action that was supposed to go to Strago, but
yeah, I mean, I would care less about that than the fact that, fortunately still had a couple characters ready to act, so because you do need to resurrect that Strago before you move on to the next phase.
Yeah, otherwise you are just down a character, and thankfully, even with Reflect, life will work because you're not alive to block it. We need to get that. Yeah, that's one issue. Is another issue is Papa has not really been able to focus on. Ooh, 2 characters down right now. Gonna definitely need to stand up Strago first. We don't want to wake up Umaro and have Umaro potentially take a fight right before you can control him and transition us to tier 3 without Strago standing up.
Yeah, meanwhile, Schwantz having much better luck on the actions thus far.
Yeah, really, it's just Schwantz's damage output and plan has really, we're really seeing that difference. If you have this high damage coming through here, it is a huge bonus getting through this tower. He's just making quick work of it. It's not even, I mean, here is Southern Cross, but
well, Southern Cross is the fire.
Yeah, that's not it's not Northern Cross, which is what has Papa Shango really in trouble here.
And fortunately, Sabin dodging that Doom Tusk, because 8 swings with a Valiant Knife would basically wipe his own party if Sabin had gotten zombified there.
Always one of the dangers, that, and like I've definitely fixed dice myself in the past. Speaking of. Yeah, I believe Sabin was yeah, we got a full heal there, which is Life 2 does give you that full heal. But yeah, this is really killing Papa Shango's run. This, he was, everything was going well, but getting frozen here and having us drop, but now at least he has a whole party up. Umaro's going to do a ton of damage when he swings, so see if he can get through this tier. Yeah, and as our tracker points out, Magic muted itself, which we're not complaining about that.
Yeah, and there's Magic dead. You can tell because it's spamming Dispel.
Yep, and it quartered Umaro, which he's also not sad about.
Yeah, so now we're here on to tier 3. So then tier 3 has 2 parts. The one on the left, which is immune to absorbs all elemental damage, not a problem here, except for maybe if anyone, I don't think anyone's still using a Pearl Lance, but if you are, that's, you want to use something else. And you kill it first because it does life 2 and heals. And then the one in front, which is the real problem, that when it dies, it casts Calmness on 1 to 2 random persons.
And we got a Merton trigger almost immediately. Oh no. That
is not great.
No, even one of our chatters said no Merton please, and we immediately get a Merton trigger. Yeah, that's a scary part of this fight. Without, you look at Schwantz's plan, he has quite a bit more control over this, although Sabin's going murder ball here. But I think he just wiped out both tier, or nope, not quite, pretty close.
Yeah, but I think did not want to take that hit because Sabin has life 3 on him. Oh, meanwhile, Papa Shango getting double calmness, taking out 2 characters, neither of whom have revival. That is not great. So now Papa Shango's coming in, hoping Umaru can basically carry the party because he's going to have to.
Well, and looking at our clock, if I'm correct, technically Schwanz's clock is actually in about 5 seconds is actually 1:20, right? Like right now.
Yeah, so Schwanz is actually ahead here.
Yeah.
Because Schwanz is already about 30 seconds into Kefka right now.
Schwanz does lose Mog there, but still has a ton of damage here. So I think
I mean Schwanz's primary damage dealer is Sabin, who has 8 Valiant Knife Swings plus Quick. So probably just going to go straight into that, and that will knock Kefka below the Fallen One trigger, and then basically quick him, and he'll kill Kefka right after that.
Right, and which is why Sabin is his bottom character, because he's going to get the first action here. Yeah, and we just got Ultima and wiped. Oh no! Oh, that couldn't have gone worse. Oh, and that pretty much. That's pretty. I mean, even if we didn't know that Schwanz is already ahead, that's definitely the death nail, and you hate to see it.
Yeah, that is. I mean, Papa Shango stepped on those switches at what was it, like 1:10, so that is basically an 11-minute time loss there.
Yeah, not something you can afford in. Not something you can afford against the quality opponents that you're facing, especially here in the top 8, with next week being the last week of this event. It's rough. Really feel for him there. I mean, we know he's behind, but meanwhile, we have Kefka cracking and dematerializing, which means the Schwanz 27 is our winner.
Yes, with an official time of 1:21:45.
Yeah, that was a wild one, huh?
Very much so. That was I mean, it was close for quite a while, and Papa Shango's hit. If you watch back, his KT, just his tears went terrible for him.
Yeah, he got
I got very lucky. So
he got 3 characters frozen on tier 2.
Oh man. Yeah, there was no offensive magic in the seed basically at all, other than Flare, right? It kind of was like, hey, I heard you like Doom's Rage, so here are 0 offensive spells. Yeah, I also got a little lucky as well. I don't know if you caught it, but I tried to time it so that I could do, double Valiant Knife into Calmness, and my Sabin got punched in the face, and it was very lucky that he blocked the Calmness after using up the life 3 on him. So I got pretty lucky there at the end, because without Sabin going up to tier 4, that would have been a mess, because I had 1 X potion and question mark, right?
Yeah. At the same time, Papa Shango got up to Kefka and got ultimate, so
yeah.
So that wipe would have meant, like, even if it would have been a mess, you would have been able. I think you would have been, even without Sabin, I think you might have been able to get through that, but definitely better than obviously taking a wipe and having to do all that again, which is nightmarish. But
that's pretty frustrating.
GG. I felt like so how did you feel when you went back to Moogle Defense and saw Shadow?
Well, at that point I knew, all right, well, if somebody got this earlier, then were they going to do Floating Continent or not, right? Because that's sort of like the play. I peeked basically every other check other than Burning House, and there weren't characters other than Burning House and Floating Continent. So if someone does that check early and then actually ends up going to Floating Continent, then we might have a little bit of a different seed. But since I didn't anticipate that, because Mog was sort of my character I got at Mount Cults, I spiked him, I think, earlier than most people might have, because I don't know how many people go to Mount Cults all that often, right? So I did that kind of early, because I wanted to do Dragons earlier to get the auto ace, but I could not find warp stones. I think I visited 10 different places before I finally found them. So
Yeah, we saw you stopping in and checking shops as often as possible.
yeah, so that was that game plan kind of out the window when I didn't find warp stones in the first however many minutes. And by the time I got to like 11 minutes, I think, I was like, all right, let's go do checks. Let's pivot to another strategy and we'll go from there, kind of thing. I was very happy that I was able to showcase a lot of different weird builds here with sniper offering and boots and horn on multiple characters with multiple weapons, having to swap the Pearl Lance out when I needed to on some of those fights. So it was pretty wild. It was a little more in depth than a normal just hold A for the entire seed kind of thing. So I'm glad that at least was not as boring there. And I also learned today that Life 3 doesn't get reflected, which is really nice. I had to go look that up as the as the final fight was going. I'm like, oh goodness, I have auto reflect on my team. Does Life 3 go through that? Then I looked it up and I'm like, yes, okay. Because I made sure that Sabin learned reflect just so that I could bounce that spell off of somebody else and onto my party. I was going real deep into the tactics here, folks.
That's actually something I knew from a long time ago, is that Life 3 is one of the few spells that does ignore. So so we were talking about calmness protection and the lack thereof, but then I saw that Life 3 was there, and I also thought maybe just maybe you take the two KT dragon fights to get the auto image, but you know, that's also a lot of time. Now the biggest reason I brought up the Moogle defense is that like that was character 8 or character 6, and if you go do the quick old man house check, you would have been, I think we clocked it, you would have been done, you would have been into KT almost 4 minutes earlier.
I did the old man check and I thought it was
it was an Esper.
Oh, well, at that point, right, I was just looking for my last character. Or rather, I was at 6 and 9 at that point. I was just looking, I was at 5 and 9 looking for my last character. So it's either Burning House or Floating Continent.
I think you were at 6 and 9, you were just checking you were doing the last couple checks to see if you could pick up character 7 and
and do skip. Yeah. It's just sometimes it's not meant to be, and it's just like you said, it's just a straight up time loss if you don't get it, right? So.
Yep. Well, Papa is into tier 3, so hopefully this will, and it looks in much better position than last time. So
yeah,
definitely will finish this up. That last round was just awful for him. Like I've been there, and oh man, it's such a sick feeling when just something horrible happens and you just have no way to get out of to get out of that situation.
Yeah. We did not find a lot. I mean, we found Cure Magic and Life 2, which is a great spell, but we didn't really find anything that we could use, because if anybody does one dragon, we get auto reflect. So that means that any cure spell is basically non-existent, right? So
yeah, that was something I noticed you well, you swapped in, you yeeted the Yeti out as soon as you could.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because this is a seed, or this is a flag set where I think Umaro is really valuable, but I had 4 different weapons at that point. I had a Ragnarok, I had 2 fixed dice, and I had a sniper, and Yeti couldn't use any of them. So I found characters that could, and I'm just like, well, that's what we're doing, right? Had I known, right, hindsight being 2020, had I known that we were going to come across an Atma weapon later in the seed and that Yeti could use it, I would have kept him in there, because that's one of my favorite things to do with Yeti, is that particular combination. But it's one of those things where it's just a bit unfortunate that we couldn't get to that.
Yep, same. I've done that one. I definitely had the Yeti holding either Valiant Knife or Valiant Knife offering, or at my weapon multiple times. Ooh, we got fallen one down to 1 health here. The other thing I looked at Strago is health ignores reflect, so there's a potential way to gain some life.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where you have a Valiant Knife user in your party too, right? So you want to not use heal if you don't have to, but sometimes you kind of have to. So yeah, the only way through the seed was to go to the floating continent where their lock is, and that's your skip. So
Yeah, and that's not really worth the time. So
Yeah, because with the way the seed played out, I would be surprised if anyone's. I would just be surprised if Strago wasn't Shadow wasn't everybody's last character.
right. Yeah, Burning House was just an Esper, so that means we had to do floating continent. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this particular run. You know, we really got to showcase how fast the fight command is versus some of these other spells.
Oh no! I hope
Yeah.
Papa Shango has a life spell. Oh.
No life 3, double wipe. Yeah, he got fallen 1 and then could not really heal and got gonered. I hate to see it.
Yeah, when you're going on razor thin edge margins here, you have to sometimes win coin flips, and I was able to win 1 or 2 in the final fight. And
you mean like your miraculous ignoring missing calmness? That because I was like, all right, Sabin's fine, he's got life 3, and then he gets bopped right in the face before I went to do the the thing to trigger calmness, and then also getting very lucky with double trains instead of double meteor counters from my jumpers coming down. It was tier 3 was a mess.
Okay,
I'm gonna go rub some rabbit's feet or something like that after this.
Yeah,
buy a lottery ticket.
Sorry to break in here, Schwantz, but just to let the viewers know. So Papa Shango has decided that 2 wipes is just unfortunately enough, which given the caliber of runners in this, since only 4 people advance, and just like when you're this deep in, it probably would have been elimination. So Papa Shango's decided to forfeit. Totally understands. It's definitely a one of those unfortunate things. I believe Papa Shango will be joining us for an interview here in a sec.
Yep, looks like we got him in the weight room, and we'll bring him up. But yeah, very unfortunate. Just that's rough. And yeah, you're right. With the caliper runners, there's no way even like 1 wipe is probably not great. 2 wipes is definitely a no-go. So, great run from Papa to get to this point. But Schwantz, how do you feel about moving on to the top 4 next week?
Well, I am in contention to move on to the top 4. I'm hoping that I can.
Time-wise. That's right. Time-wise.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just looked in the race room. I'm not going to spoil a lot of things, but I'm not out yet, which is really nice. And we'll just see whatever happens. But I want to thank you guys for doing commentary tonight, and for Drinks Glue for being the restreamer and tracker behind the scenes. And whenever Papa Shango comes up, I will thank him for agreeing to do this on Restream. Racing basically a semifinal match on Restream, and here he is. So thanks, Papa Shango, for agreeing to race me on stream. Doing a semifinal run on Restream is way more nerve-wracking than you think it is, because normally it's bad enough that okay, I have to do really well or else I'm out. But doing it on broadcast, on stream, makes the pressure that much even more. So thanks, Papa Shango, for doing it, because we do it for the viewers, and thank you guys for staffing this race up. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem. I really enjoy getting out in front of people.
And with that, I'll catch you guys later.
All right, Schwantz, thank you, and GG's.
All right, thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, so Papa Shango, I know it's probably a bit of a sore subject, but man, that's those tears, man. Oof.
Yeah.
Getting frozen that first time was just we all felt the pain here.
Yeah, the freezing wasn't great. The lack of healing, I kind of I checked my espers. I'm like, all right, I got a lot of untargetable offense. I found an esper.
Papa Shango knows his mic is not on.
Oh, you guys can't hear me?
Did I mute him? No, it's yes.
You muted him. I got him just fine.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, no.
Somebody
no
stripped my admin powers. Too abusive.
But yeah, I was looking for float.
Let's get that guy out of here.
Deal with the tears. And then I forgot about auto reflect, and then I'm like, I guess I can't use that anymore. And you learn something new. I didn't realize health gets reflected. and so my healing plans kind of went out the window there.
I thought it did. I thought it ignored. Okay, well okay.
Yeah, I did
You know
too,
what?
and
It's
then I
just
found out
casting Cure
it didn't.
1, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it's Cure 2 actually, but yeah, it's
Cure 2?
basically just
Okay.
casting Cure.
Yep, and so
Oh,
I decided to keep the Yeti because he could equip the Valiant Knife. We had an offering. I'm like, this should go all right. And he was doing a lot of damage, and unfortunately, he just did a little too much damage there on tier 4, and put me into that ultimate range. And I was hoping Cyan could survive because I thought he had a force armor or shield on, but he didn't.
Yeah, definitely just one of those things. Like Final Kefka, even when you're swinging big sticks, even when you're overpowered, he has ways to just decide, nope, not tonight.
Yeah, that happens, unfortunately. But I'm glad to have gotten this far in the tournament. I was really pushing the envelope because I wanted to make it this time, and I think it would have been close, but took an unfortunate wipe. But that's kind of how the game goes, so it happens.
Yeah, for sure. It can be a cruel. Well, Kefka can be a cruel mistress. You know, he is fittingly as wild of a fight every single time as his character is crazy. It's always a nightmare. Even if you think you're in great shape, just something can happen, and it's just like, oh yeah, fallen one followed by a quick, oh yeah, let's just murder the party. And yeah, great. What do I do now? And yeah, I know I've been there plenty of times. I know it'll probably happen plenty more times to all of us as we continue to run this randomizer, which I love it. It's great. And I'm looking forward to, I don't know if you're planning on doing it, Papa Shango, but I'm looking forward to the multi-category tournament that's coming up as well after we get to watch this finals from the top 4 players next week.
Yeah, I am signed up for it. I have been doing the preview rooms as they've been opening up. So yeah, that's one that I'm hoping we'll have the time to be able to participate in, but I'm looking forward to all the 1v1s.
Yeah, in case anyone's not familiar with that is a upcoming tournament which will be starting. Signups are actually open now, I believe.
Yes.
And it starts at the end of March. So, it's basically several weeks of 1v1 to sort of do placements in a Swiss format. So if anyone's not familiar with Swiss, basically everybody starts off with a record of 0-0. And then after week 1, if you've won your first game, all the 1-0s face off against other 1-0s. And then all the 0-1s face off against 0-1s. And after week 2, the 2-0s face off against 2-0s, et cetera, et cetera. So that's sort of the thought, is that it sort of characterizes people and sort of breaks people up evenly. And then after that, you get broken into groups of, I believe, 4 or 5, just depending on the amount of racers we have signed up. And then, you've got a bunch of 1v1 races. Sort of the intent is to bring back some of the 1v1 live races. There's 5 different flag sets, and each week, basically, each person is allowed to ban one of the flag sets. So basically, you end up playing 3 of the 5 flag sets each week. So that's sort of how that goes. Should be a very fun tournament. Look for information in the Discord if it sounds interesting to you.
Yeah, and this is one that coming up, the plan is to try to live play as many of those as possible. So not a lot of, the goal is to not async those races. So be some more opportunities for some restreams in that tournament as well, which I think would be good. This will actually be the first tournament I played in any game in almost 4 years. So I'm looking forward to, I did one of the Kefka Cups a long time ago, but looking forward to running this and maybe running against you, Papa Shango, and getting destroyed by you in a run.
Yeah, hopefully we get to face off. It'll be fun, but I'm sure it'll be close.
Well, both of us chose great names for our Twitch names off of great characters that we enjoyed when we were younger.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, thanks guys for putting on the restream. I always enjoy coming on and putting on a show. Hopefully it was entertaining. It looked like it was a pretty close finish if I wouldn't have wiped there. So hopefully we put on a good show for you guys. Again, thank you for having me on, and look forward to doing more races.
For sure. And yep, our pleasure. I know it was my pleasure. I definitely had a good time hanging out with you guys watching this race tonight. Thank you both to both runners for putting on a good show. It was really close up until that wipe, so we were looking at a close finish, but that's how Kefka crumbles sometimes. But Rooster, go ahead and take us out.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you everyone for watching. Definitely huge thanks to Drinks Glue behind the scenes for doing the restreaming and tracking. Thanks to both of our runners, the Schwantz27 and then Papa Shango. My name is Arusta. My co-commentator today has been Vincent RTA. We are about to raid someone. However, for fair warning is that this will be the memory lane for the Flashback Battle Royale. So if you are in the Flashback Battle Royale memory lane and you plan on running that seed and you haven't yet, don't follow the raid. Everybody else, we will be raiding Shadow Sid. So definitely get your Moogles in and chat when we see Sid. And thank you for watching, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.